watching TVC Breakfast, and indeed we head to the foreign scene now, where the biggest story since it broke yesterday is the fact that the United States and its European allies are expelling dozens of Russian diplomats over the poisoning of a former Russian spy and his daughter in the UK.
Now, the U.S. President Donald Trump ordered 60 Russian diplomats to leave the country. 14 European Union countries have made the same move. Now, Russia denies any role in the attack on Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia, and has indicated it will respond proportionately. Skripal and his daughter remain in critical but stable condition in hospital.
Let's bring in now TVC News senior researcher Cyril Abaku to give us more on this fast developing story, Cyril. Now, as of yet, we're yet to get any, well, a major reaction from the Russian side, but then there had been hints now from diplomats that there will surely be a retaliation following this coordinated move.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there's going to be. But for me, I think that because initially the UK acted alone and Russia responded almost immediately, expelling their, not just their diplomats, but also shutting down their cultural offices there in Russia. But I think that it will be an error, it will be an exercise in error if we thought that this is just a case of Russia has done a bad thing and let's punish them. Vladimir Putin is a very sagacious, very, very calculating person. And I think that what is happening appears to benefit both sides. It is convenient for both sides, for the US and our allies in the EU, and even non-EU countries like Australia and so on, to clamp down on Russia by expelling their diplomats. But I think that somehow, if you look at Vladimir Putin's domestic track record, these sort of developments feed the narrative that is the new savior of Russia. Vladimir Putin came to power as a very middle-level civil servant. He was just working for the FSB. I think it was the deputy FSB chief was in a city. Boris Yeltsin brought him and put him in government. If you remember, there was the bombing of Grozny, I think, and then the invasion of Chechnya, and then somehow I think that Vladimir Putin's show of might and show of military strength and show of force is what keeps him going, is what gives him legitimization as Russian president. Before, I think, you know, in the run-up to the just concluded elections, there was the exhibition of a particular nuclear weapon that he said America wouldn't have a response to this. And then there was the poisoning of the agent. For starters, the fact is that there was no prevailing international condition, or at least bilateral condition between Russia and the UK to have warranted the attack on Sergei Skripal and his daughter. But you know, I think for some reason, Putin found it convenient to raise the tempo to this point. And I believe he saw what was going to be the fallout. In the days to come, I don't see him expelling all the diplomats of all the nearly 30 countries that have expelled. So I want to see what he's going to do. But instructively, what the Russian government has said is that they are going to respond to each country individually. I'm waiting for that
in proportionate terms.
Yes,
now, but in all of this, really, what will be the overall implication going forward now? Because we've been seeing tension between the United States and North Korea all the while. And if this goes on now, because the response cuts across Western countries and all of that, with the United States expelling about 60, and then the UK and the others following and so on, what will be the overall general implication of this? Well,
I think the first thing to happen is that these countries should realize, and particularly the United States, and particularly President Trump, they need to realize that, in a manner of speaking, the real major threat, shall I say threat now? I think Russia is the next big thing to look at. Not North Korea, not even China.
Why is that?
Yes. Because you see, Mike, it may sound a bit too futuristic to say this, but my own assessment, my own projection tells me that the way the world has been evolving from World War I to World War II, where we have about 60 million Jews were killed, it looked like it was going to be an endless killing spree. It ended. We got into the Cold War era. The animosity between East and West was so fierce, you thought it wouldn't come to an end. It ended. We came into the era of terrorism. Terrorism is on its death throes. It's going to end very soon. The next big thing coming in the world is cyber warfare. And the Russians have proven time and again that they are more than ready and capable to take on the world. if you look at signals coming from Europe, you will hear that the Catalan separatists are being influenced by, and this is not just about sending them. It is about the fact that people are, you know, you go on the internet, because the world has moved into the digital space. You go on the internet and you think that you are willingly going to a space where you're going to seek information, where you're going to maybe learn and so on, but the internet is practically controlling the world. The influencing of elections in the US, if that is not loud enough,
here,
I wonder what is going to be louder.
Exactly.
It's already here.
And you will hear them say that, look, even this thing going on in Spain is being influenced from cyberspace. And we know, and okay, let me not say we know, but a clear observation or a clear a good observation of what's going on tells you that there is a hand in all of this. Mike Pompeo, the new CIA chief, has told Donald Trump that, look, for all your grabs with North Korea and whoever else you have issues with, your trade issues with China and so on, Russia is the biggest threat to the U.S. And
I'm even wondering, you know, at the rather strong response now from the U.S. From the U.S. now. I mean, just look at it. Open 60 diplomats, you know, leave, you know, in the face of lingering investigations on the last general elections in the U.S. about possible Russian links. Now, when you said, let's go further now into this futuristic perspective now, as to what angle Russia may want to come in to retaliate against the U.S.
Look, if you look at what is going on, as a matter of fact, I can't remember this particular incident, but I think it was in Atlanta or California some days ago. A report came again that, well, this you can call it American propaganda, okay? But the fact is that the reports that came were saying Russian hackers had paralyzed activities in a particular U.S. city. This happened some days ago. So America can do all the loud talking and grandstanding, but the real war to be fought is not just about expelling diplomats. You can hold bilateral ties, but there is still another place they can get at you. Okay, so for one, let's not take it away. For one, show of force, show of numbers. Solidarity is important. The EU, like I said, about 20, Theresa May was talking about 18 countries. As at the last count, about 21. Okay, that have come out to say Russia must go. Call it the rustication or ostracization of Russia from the global. It's fine.
Because they also just closed their consulate in Seattle in America.
Yes, they did, because well, the reasons they gave, it was close to naval base, and that it was also too close for comfort to Boeing and Co. To Boeing Co. It's fine. But we need better strategy. What Obama did when he was in power was instructive. There is a place this whole thing hurts the Russian elite. The sanctions, the economic sanctions that you have to impose, that will directly bite their wallets. That is the language that the Kremlin and the Russians understand. But as it is now, I think that Russia has demonstrated the fact. Look, the people that were expelled in the US, the American government instructively called them intelligence officers. I think even in Germany and a few other countries.
That's correct.
They said this people, and that since Russia is raising the bar or is lifting the ante in it and has become a bit aggressive in its spycraft, that they needed to impose these drastic measures. It's fine. Show of force, show of numbers is good, but as I speak with you, not all the countries are expelling the same number of diplomats. Some are expelling one.
Just one.
Some are expelling 4. Some are expelling. So
the US is
yes, because of course
in commensurate terms.
Even more than the UK, the UK side. Now I'm even also looking at the Prime Minister's reaction now. Is she in a very good place now, seeing this huge international support now after her first move against Russia, especially with the Brexit talks now in the entire region, in the entire continent, how this must make her feel?
Well, I think, May herself, the elections that brought her to power were a bit divisive. She was unable to garner the majority she wanted in. And so she has had domestic issues. And again, reaching the terms of Brexit didn't come very easy, although I think some days ago they were able to strike a deal. So I think reaching the Brexit deal and now having a common enemy, Mike, you know how this works. Having a common enemy, it solidarizes, it brings together people from both aisles. And then you have continental Europe also, in a sense, the allies in Europe and, of course, the US, Canada, and so on also coming together. So for once, a common enemy can unite people, but they also need a common strategy. Look, for one, what Vladimir Putin is up to should not be underestimated. Since the end of World War II, we've not had a chemical attack on European soil or on any of those countries covered under the NATO umbrella. So, effectively, this is a declaration of war by another name. That is what it is, Mike. Because, of course, you see, the chemicals experts also have come to say that, look, this particular species of Navigent, I think I think Novichok also is the one that the Russians.
Yeah, Novichok.
So
it's owned by Russia.
Yes, it's pretty
and
clear.
the ability and capacity to use it on a foreign soil.
Some years ago, I think they hacked either on the DNC or on another target. You know, left a when the hack took place, it left a code that was traceable back to the first director of the Russian spy agency, which Western scholars interpreted to mean that this was coming from the desk of Vladimir Putin himself. So ask yourself that why in all of these attacks and all of these things going on, Russia does not want to hide its fingerprint.
All right, but
even though it denies.
It didn't, of course.
Of course, there is. Look, the denial that they didn't take part in it. Russian broadcaster, I think Channel 1 Russia, some days ago, their lead broadcaster was saying that, look, these are if you offend the motherland, the motherland, there are going to be consequences. So the double speak is there. Whether they deny it officially or not, those who should take decision know enough or understand enough what they should be doing. So if seeing all of this, they still go back and take and adopt the wrong policies, they don't have me to blame.
Okay. Well, they have themselves to blame or something. All right, Cyril, thank you very much. We'll be following to see what the response is, because Russia said it's going to respond in proportionate terms. So we certainly wait for that response and see how things are going to be.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Cyril, for coming on the program.
My pleasure, Mike.
Thank you.